Cool. Hey guys, just wanted to real quickly take you through a quick walkthrough on how this is done in terms of this project. So this is how the project is done. So first things first, we have our Slope Madness project. So I'm going to start sharing my screen so you guys can see what I'm seeing as I go through stuff. Okay. That's my screen one. There it goes. Cool. Okay. So the first thing with our project was you had to choose a basketball team from the bracket that was at the last page of your packet. So you choose whatever team you do, and all we're doing is a data dive using what we have in our tool set, which is our linear equation. So we're going to use our slope-intercept form in order to visualize the data so we can make predictions, just like they do in data analysis, like in that video we watched. So once you had your team, the next thing you had to do was go data mine all the stats. And to do that, I gave you guys a link and emailed everybody a link to this website, sportsreference.com, college basketball. Now, if that link's not working for some reason, just Google sportsreference.com or sports reference college basketball, and it'll bring right up to this side. So let's start here. You had to go to your schools, which is right underneath the S and the R, and you're going to click on 2021. And from there, you're going to go down to whatever school you chose. I chose the Cougs because they're not in the dance, so it makes it easy for it to be an example. So there's WSU. I'm going to pull them in, and this is how you know you're in the right space. It says 2020/21 Washington State Cougars, and it has their logo. Again, we don't need the first game result analytics. We don't need the roster, but we do need this team and opponent stats. And with this sheet, all we're doing is putting in whatever data is in that team stats here. So my field goals, for example, were 23.4. My FGAs, or my field goal attempts, were 57. So I'm going to put those in. I'm going to go 23.4. We're going to actually go like this and make all this smaller. So 23.4, 57. The next one, my 2 pointers were 15.7 and 34.4. 34.4. My 3-pointers were 7.7 and 22.6. So 7.7, 22.6. Now these turnovers, personal fouls, and points, those were the last three columns like we talked about in class. So my turnovers were 15.3. My personal fouls were 18.4. So again, it was 15.3 and 18.4. Then my points per game was 68.6. Okay. Then I would do the exact same thing. I'm not going to do it now to save time, but you scroll down here to where it says per game, and it automatically ranks your top 5 players. So you're going to put those 5 players in and find those exact same stats and fill them in there. Okay. And then you'd be done with your data mining. However, from here, we need to calculate slope. Okay, so for the field goals, I was going to take 23, those were your field goals, and I'm going to divide it by my total minutes played, which is 40 minutes. And that would equal 0.575 after I put in my calculator. Okay, that's what I'm going to do for each statistic. So my field goal attempts, I'd put, because I already got it, it would be 57 field goal attempts divided by 40 minutes. And that's going to give me, if I use my calculator, it's going to give me a 57 divided by 40, 1.425. Okay, 1.425. Okay. And to get the equations that we're going to use to graph, all we're going to do is take our y equals from the slope intercept, and we're going to take this number, 0.575, and that goes in front of my x. So that's my equation. Y equals, in this case, be 1.425x. Now there's no y-intercept because everything's going to start for 0. And I'm going to do that for every single one of my stats. Okay? Then you're going to do the exact same thing for your opponents. Get whoever WSU was playing. So if they were playing the Oregon Ducks, I'd have the Oregon Ducks, and I'd go get all the Oregon Ducks data just like I did there and fill it all out and complete all that so I'm able to graph it. Once you get through that, you should be through this stage most likely by the end of your second day in class on the project. So if you're cohort A, it would be Wednesday. If you're cohort B, it would be Thursday. Then we're going to jump in to the graphing part. Okay, and this is where it gets a little crazy, so I'm going to do it for you. We're going to save that guy. And I'm going to show you what the graphing is going to look like real quick, so you can start your graphing at home if you choose to. So wait for this to load. I should have saved it before I started this. There we go. So I'm going to add activities. We're going to get a graph up here. Now your graph already has 40 blanks in it, which is nice because it'll make it super easy for you. So I need to draw it. And I'm going to upload a background document. I'm going to put a graph in here. In my graph that I'm going to put in, we're going to go to the next one. Find a better graph. Still go one more over. There we go. No, I don't want anything drawn on it though. 1 second, I'll get the right. There we go. This graph will be fine for at least teaching this. Okay, so from here, we're going to hit save. I have my graph in there. And I'm going to save and I'm going to preview this. And it's going to bring in your student preview so I can show you what it looks like. Now, the key with the graphing is we're dealing with pretty small numbers. Like, for example, my shooting percentage or my field goal per minute was made per minute was 0.575. So the first thing you're going to want to do is alter your axis here. So instead of having it be 1, 2, 3, okay, what we're going to want to do is we're going to black these guys out. And we're going to make it 1, so about every 4 units, we'll make it 1 on your graph. So you count 1, 2, 3, 4, there would be your first unit, okay? Because it's going to be a pretty flat graph, so we're going to want to be able to see that. Okay, now for your x-axis, it's totally fine per minute because you'll be able to see everything. Okay, and remember, once you have 2 graphs, you can just do it aligned. So there's my new unit is every 4 units up is worth 1 total unit. So if my, for example, the reason it works out is if my, that'd be 0.25, this would be 0.5, this would be 0.75. So if my equation is y equals 0.575x, okay, what I'm going to be doing then is when I graph that, my intercept is going to start right here at 0, which makes sense because it's 0 minutes. It's impossible for them to take in a shot, so it is going to go through 0. I'm going to go up here to where it's 0.575. So in this case, on my graph, it's going to be 0.5. There's 0.75, so it's probably going to be like right about here would be where it would go. I kind of have to eyeball it. Now on your graph, it's going to be flatter because your graph is longer than my graph, okay? And then you're going to connect it with a ruler all the way through to the edge of your paper. And that'll show you what your shooting percentage is like. Whoops, I'm going to have to undo that, obviously. Boom, do it again. So there's my line, okay? Then I would do my opponent's line right after that. So let's just say my opponent's line, let's say I was playing USC and their line was y equals 0.425x. Okay, and if that was the case, then I'd go over here to 1, and then I'd come up to where I'd eyeball. There's 0.5, so 0.42 is probably like right there. And then I would make my line on that guy. And your line's going to be straighter, obviously, but it's going to go off into infinity. Okay, use your ruler, connect it all the way through the edge of your paper using 2 separate colors so you can see everything, or 2 separate lines so you can see everything. And I would graph that one, and I'd be done with my field goal graphs. Okay, and then I would just follow and do it the same thing for my other 4 graphs that we're looking for in this project. And if you do that, you're good to go. And of course, we're going to be working through this lots in class. We're going to have another minimum of 3 class sessions to get this finished off. So this should help you though stay on top of what we're doing with that. And there we go. Thank you for watching.